and welcome to the Self-Empowered podcast. My name is Abby Marie and I am passionate about helping women to activate their lives, to activate themselves, removing that shell, removing that mask, tapping deep within themselves to find their core strength to become self-empowered. Now, in today's episode, I want to continue on from where we left off on the last episode where we were talking about the 8 steps to becoming a self-empowered goddess and stepping into the new year with strength and empowerment. So what step number 1 is doing that yearly review. So what I want to do is I'm going to take you through the steps of what I do, the questions I ask myself, the process I go through on just kind of reflecting on the year that we've just had. So what I recommend you doing is grabbing a pen and paper so that you can write down your answers. Now, if you haven't grabbed yourself a copy of the Self-Empowerment Plan and you would like to, grab that link and really immerse yourself a lot deeper, having the workbooks, having the hypnotic meditations, having the videos, then I'm going to share the link for you in the comments so that you can grab that. But if you don't have that yet, that's still okay, because just grab your notebook and a pen and we'll go through this. So the first thing that we're going to do is it's going to really help you to reflect on the last 12 months so that you can start to have a look at some of the lessons, some of the highlights and some of the challenges, and also take some of the wisdom and the knowledge as it creates momentum going into the next 12 months. Now, it's really important for you to do a full review of the last 12 months to take a look at what you have achieved, to celebrate your wins, and as well, I invite you to have a look at what lessons you've learned, the challenges you've faced, and what the highlights have been of the last year. So often we become our own worst critic and, we're focusing on the things that we didn't do. We're focusing on the lack over the last 12 months, reflecting back on the things that we didn't do or, the things that we've missed out on, as opposed to actually focusing on the things that we actually did well or focusing on the lessons that we can learn. So that's why this is really important and I'm so super excited to share this with you. So what we're going to do, so with this review, it's not one-sided, nothing is better or no one's is worse, so it's a complete review of all the different areas in life, making sure that we balance them out. By doing a full review, it can also help navigate periods of your life where you may have lost confidence and are needing to boost and grow. So we can often forget the courageous things that we've done in our past, how we've overcome challenges, and how we've been brave and defeated our fears. So I invite you to give yourself time and give yourself this well-deserved credit on what you've achieved in the last year, because no matter what you've done, you've definitely achieved something. So on the first page, I'm going to give you this opportunity to write down what words to describe this last year. Okay, so what words could you use that stand out for you? These words can be both positive and negative. It can be at any moment or any event that stood out to you. Just taking this time to really identify what this year was for you. Just using words that describe this year. Was it fun? Was it adventurous? Was it scary? Was it challenging? Whatever you use, whatever words you use is absolutely perfect for you. So I just invite you now to do a bit of a brain dump and for those who don't know what a brain dump is, it's something that I absolutely love doing. So what it is just getting all the words and all the thoughts that are in your brain and just dumping them on a piece of paper in front of you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to dump all the words that describe this last year and putting it down in the paper in front of you. Now I'm just going to play a little bit of music so that you can, allow yourself to drop in. What I'll get you to do is taking a nice deep breath in and out, and in and out, and in and out. Perfect. So just continuing to breathe the way that you breathe. And just grabbing your pen and just writing down the words to describe this last year. Perfect. Feel free to pause this at any time and come back to it. So now the next brain dump that I'm going to get you to do. So on the next page, I want you to write challenges. So we all have challenges, no matter who we are. We all face challenges. So this is why it's so important to look back at what challenges you've had of the last year and be able to enable and equip yourself for this year. So in case you have some similar challenges, but also to recognize what you did overcome as well. It's really about looking back over the last 12 months as there are some challenges you've been facing or some challenges that may need to be addressed. And you might have some challenges you've already overcome. This is about identifying and learning from them what you did to overcome those challenges and what you can learn from them to take into the next 12 months. Something that helps me to remember what challenges I've been faced with is to go through my calendar events and think about okay, what happened to me in January? What happened to me in February? Now, you might find that there's no challenges in January, and that's absolutely fine. But it just helps you to remember, if you can pull up your calendar of some kind and go back through and go, okay, well, this is actually what was happening in those months, so that you can remember the challenges that you might have had. Now, we all generalize, distort, and delete, and this is a really good way to stay in perspective and say, okay, I've mentioned these words that describe the last year. Now I'm looking to list my challenges. So what challenges did I face? Were there challenges in your relationship? Were there challenges in your wealth? Were there challenges in your health? Some other personal challenges you've faced, and list as many as you can. Now, I encourage you to, only spend like 5 minutes on this, no longer. Don't make this something that drags out for days or weeks and months. So I'm going to play some music again. If you need to, drop into a conscious breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And breathing in and out. What challenges did you face this year? Fantastic. So again, if you need to pause it, please do, and continue to write what your challenges were. Now, on the next page, what I'm going to get you to do is writing lessons. Now, lessons is something that's really close to my heart, because no matter what event you went through, there's always a lesson, okay? And there's always a lesson that's going to empower you. Like I say, the universe doesn't do things to you, she does them for you. So being able to capture all the lessons that you've gathered over the last 12 months is really special, to be able to have that one page and flick back and see all the lessons, just be like, wow, look at all the lessons I've learned. Now, I'm not about who has the neatest writing, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. Who cares if you capture everything perfectly or not? The page can be messy, or it can be a neat page. Whatever you do is absolutely perfect for you, as long as you're actually getting something down, and then you're definitely moving forward, okay? It's all about focusing on progress, not perfection. It's all about getting that snapshot of the last 12 months. So it doesn't really matter how well or how poorly you do it, as long as you're doing it, because you're starting to reconnect reconnect to all those memories of your past. So when you do come to planning your next 12 months, these memories are fresh on your mind. So when it comes to lessons, so another tip of mine is, this can be some of the most challenging moments that you face. So go back over your challenges and what were some of the lessons you gained from those challenges. Often I see a lot of women who have negative mindsets is they feel like they're facing big problems, and this is nothing to do with big problems. What I've seen is they're actually avoiding, or they're not recognizing the lessons from these problems actually teaching them, okay? So you're just looking at it going, oh, look at all these problems, look at all these challenges, and coming from that effect mindset, instead of coming from that cause mindset of that leadership and going, okay, where's the hidden messages? Where's the lessons that I've learned from this? There is always that silver lining, okay? So you may think that, like I mentioned, the universe doesn't do things to us, she does them for us. And many of us think that things are happening to us, but in fact, they're happening for us, okay? So it happens for us to teach us something. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're being taught something in that moment. So go and find your lessons, which is why this is so close to my heart, because this is the thing that can turn any problem into an opportunity when you find the lessons that are there. So I'm going to play some music again. Feel free to drop into a conscious breath and let's go through and find these lessons. And again, I recommend not to spend hours, weeks, or months on this. Let's just get this done in a few minutes and we'll continue on. Okay, welcome back. Well done. Now, what I want you to do on the next page is we're going to go through highlights. So I want you to write highlights down on the page, and this one is definitely a lot of fun. Like I've already mentioned, what I'll get you to do is go back through your calendar, or even if you go on your phone and go back through your photos. That's what I did this morning. I just went back to January and I was like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this. Like, we've got a puppy at the beginning of the year. Like, she's one now and she's a big dog, but I kind of just forgot about the highlight and that moment when we brought her home and the kids, it was a surprise for the kids and their eyes lit up, and oh, the love that was in the room. I'll share the video. It was just so beautiful. It was one of the biggest highlights. And I was like, wow, I forgot that was this year. I thought it was last year. So really, really fun to do. So yeah, so just going back through either your calendar or your photos and just having a look at all those highlights, having a look at those memories. And, like I mentioned before, and I'll mention it again, that there's no right or wrong way of what a highlight is. It really comes down to what a highlight is for you specifically. So don't feel like because, maybe someone wrote, something bigger or better or something different, that's a different highlight, okay? Well, that's it means it's a better highlight, or that it means yours is not a highlight, okay? That's not the case. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Just write down anything that happened to you over the last 12 months that makes you smile, that you want to capture, that you want to remember. It's whatever you define as a highlight is. And it's okay if you've got some double ups in here. Some of the lessons might be highlights. Some of your challenges might be highlights. I mean, I had some challenges in business because I was, leveling up and stepping out of my growth zone when it come to business. But that's one of my highlights. I was like, wow, I leveled up, So, whatever is a highlight for you, just write it down. Just really write down what highlight stood out for you. So I'm just going to play some music again. I'm going to let you drop into a conscious breath. So nice deep breath in and out and in and out and in and out. What are the highlights for you for this last 12 months? Welcome back. Okay, so on the next page, I want you to write self-acknowledgement. Now, this is so important because, like I mentioned earlier, we can all be our worst critics. So often we only see the gaps in things. The truth is that if this was your best friend or if this was a child, you would praise them so much more. You would see their value and how they shine so much more often. So it's so important to take this moment to, no longer than 5 or 10 minutes, like I mentioned before. We're not going to take days or weeks or months to do this, but to really acknowledge who you are. Acknowledge your wins, celebrate your wins. It's about really acknowledging both your small successes and your large successes, both your small achievements and your large achievements. Taking time to acknowledge and appreciate individual contributions, celebrating what is done well, and reflecting on the challenges that we're overcoming is so important for everyone's sense of well-being. You can begin by recognizing and celebrating moments or achievements that brought you or, your colleagues or your family, satisfaction, as well as moments of achievements that brought joy to your learning community. It's not about what anyone else thinks, okay? This is not anyone else's purpose other than your own. So, what I want you to do is just take this time to acknowledge yourself, to celebrate your wins, like I've already mentioned. And I understand that this may feel a little bit uncomfortable because what's happening right now is that you're focusing the love and the praise and the attention on yourself, which, if you're anything like how I used to be, that was something that was very, very hard to do, very easy to criticize. Like I mentioned, we can be our own worst critics, and it can be very uncomfortable to acknowledge our wins. So that's why this is so, so important for you to do. And this is something that you should do daily, weekly. Share, have a look at your wins. And what I've noticed is that it's all about our perspective. So when we're focusing on the negative things, we see the negative things. Yeah, have you done that before? Or just not even negative, whatever you're focusing on, you start to see. Like, if you're thinking about buying a new car, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the car around, and then you think of what color you want, and the next minute, if you're thinking of buying a red car, the next minute, every single car that you go past, or almost every car you go past, seems to be red. You start to notice it. So when we're in the habit of being our own worst critic, we start to notice the things that we do wrong, and we really focus on them. And what that does is that kind of blurs out the other, the wins that we have and the positive things that we have. So this is why it's so important to rewire the brain and start focusing on your wins so that you start to notice them more, and you start to see the good things in life, and you start to really become empowered by yourself and what you are actually achieving. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some music, I'm going to get you to drop in, and then just do a quick brain dump of all the things, of all your wins and all your acknowledgements. Well done, self-empowered goddess. I am so proud of you. Now, so what we've done over those last few pages is we've done some brain dumps of the words to describe the year, the challenges we've faced, the lessons we've learned, the highlights, and the self-acknowledgements. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to turn the page again, and we're going to do a My Year in summary. So what this is it's like a 1-page snapshot of your entire year. So you can go back and go like, wow, what a year. Now, before you do this, what I'm going to get you to do is go back through the year reflections and circle your top 3 that stood out for you in each area. So going back through and circling the top 3 to describe your year, the top 3 challenges, the top 3 lessons, highlights, and self-acknowledgements. Then once you've done that, what I'm going to get you to do on your single page, on your My Year summary page, is then fill it out. So just filling out what your top 3 are for each of those sections. So this gives you that one sheet cheat sheet, okay? That was a bit of a tongue twister. And like I mentioned, at the start of this podcast or the start of this episode, that it's really important for you to review the last year before you jump into the next year coming, because it's kind of like not working out where you are going to begin with before you start moving forward. So I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. And again, if you're interested in grabbing yourself the Self-Empowered Goddess program, which comes with videos and hypnotic meditations and the workbooks and the PDFs and the printables and everything else, it's all super exciting. Let me know. Send me a message. I'll send you the link. I'll talk to you later. Bye.